Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Doya Kara Mare Toma vina ke dayalu jagat samsare jagat samsare patita pavana hai tu tava avatar Mosama patita Prabhu na paive ara Ha ha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi Kripavala Kara Karo Hame Vado Dukhi Kara Karo Hame Vado Dukhi Daya Karo Pitapati Advaita Gosai Daya Karo Tava Kripa Bhale Pai Chaitanya Nitai Chaitanya Nitai Aha Swarup Sanatana Rupa Raghunatha Rupa Raghunatha Bhatta Yuga Shri Deva Prabhu Lokanatha Daya Kara Sri Acharya Prabhu Sri Nivasa Daya Karo Ramachandra Sangamage Narottama Dasa Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur. Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Shri Shri Radha Girdhari ki, Jai Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Sodhara Maharani ki, Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki, Kaliga Pavan Harinama Sankirtana ki, Srila Namacharya Haridas Thakur Tirobhav Tedi Maha Mahotsav ki, Srila Prabhupada Sannyasa Diksha ki. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuhu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So today is a very auspicious day, passing away of Haridas Thakur, as well as the Sannyasa Diksha of Srila Prabhupada. His Holiness Badrinarayan Swami Maharaj was telling, I am a great Pandita, but it's a very good joke. Although many of my God brothers like Gauranga Prabhu, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu are all actually Panditas. They travel across the West and you might have got to hear from them too. But you can't count me along with them. I am a very simple devotee. But I only have one very big qualification, that I have a very firm conviction that if I live with devotees always, all my life will be perfect. So that is my only qualification. So here at San Diego, His Holiness Badrinarayan Swami Maharaj and His Grace Haridas Prabhu and His Grace Vijay Prabhu and His Grace Balram Prabhu and many other devotees. You are all very, very senior devotees. I am, and the subject matter is a very advanced subject. of Haridas Thakur's passing away, which appears in the Antya Lila. So I will say a few words in my own babyish way. You can add some points to that. So, this chapter appears in the Antya Lila, I think 16th chapter. I wanted to just refer to some of the specific verses that may be relevant to our subject. This is actually the Antya Lila, 11th chapter, passing of Haridas Thakur. So, you will see that when Lord Brahma, almost 40 prayers he offered to Lord Krishna after the Brahma Vimohan Leela. Still, Lord Krishna was not happy with him. He didn't even look at him. Of course, when he did look at him, Lord Krishna said, "Why are you calling me God or your master? I am simply a coward boy." He spoke very deceptively and very mystically. He also, Brahma was trying to convince Krishna that you are actually my master. Narayana, he says that, Nahi Sarvatra, are you not my master? So Brahma is endeavoring to prove Krishna to be God, and Krishna is denying, I am simply a coward boy. So, which means Brahma was ignored by the Lord for some time. But the same Brahma, when he becomes Haridas Thakur in this world in Kali Yuga, so the same Lord Krishna, when he comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he goes to meet him every day. In fact, Lord Chaitanya one day took a toothpick of Jagannath and he went to the place called Siddhabakul. There he planted this and a beautiful tree came out. It's called Siddhabakul. When Haridas Thakur came to Puri and told Lord Chaitanya that you have left all of us in Navadvip and you have come here, so where should I stay? What is your instruction for me? So Lord Chaitanya said you should stay here in the Siddhabakul and chant your 3 lakh names of Krishna daily. And I will come and meet you daily. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to go and see him and he used to give him Jagannath Mahaprasad. So many people all over the world go to Jagannath Puri to see Lord Jagannath, but here Jagannath is coming to meet Haridas Thakur to give him the Mahaprasad daily. So compare this with Krishna's behavior with Brahma. The same Brahma is here, only with a different attitude of humility, the attitude of surrender and submissiveness, the attitude of completely being sold out to Krishna's will. So therefore you see Mahaprabhu behaving like that. So this is a big chapter. It is about 108 verses. I am only going to highlight some of the things. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's daily activity in Puri, if you see 11 to 15 verses, the daytime Mahaprabhu will have kirtan with the devotees, and the night time he will have Krishna Katha with Saru Damodar Goswami and Ramanand Rai. And then here comes the first incident about Mahaprabhu Haridas Thakur talking with each other between 16 to 26 verses. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he came to meet Haridas Thakur, he brought Mahaprasad. But Haridas Thakur offered respect to Mahaprasad, but he said, I will eat it later because my chanting is not yet over today. 3 lakh names, like the Haridas Thakur said. So Prabhupada writes there that sometimes when 2 services come, we have to decide the priority, which one should be done first. One is prasadam eating service, one is chanting service. If chanting is not completed, one should not be eager to eat. Of course, Haridas Thakur did not reject the prasad. He bowed down to Mahaprasad. Great Vaishnava sometimes even circumambulate Mahaprasad or bow down to Mahaprasad and dance after seeing Mahaprasad, but they don't eat it unless they have chanted. So one has to chant the holy name. So Prabhupada also says there that Mahaprasadam is non-different from Krishna. So one should not eat the Mahaprasad, but one should honor it, he says. Because it's a favor of Krishna. which means flavor means the blessing of Krishna. It should be seen as a blessing. So the Mahaprasad, if it is seen as ordinary food, it does not produce a desired effect as much as when it is seen as Lord's mercy, Lord's grace, Lord's favor, Lord's blessings. And it is seen with an eye of respect. Just like Lord Chaitanya one time, there is one song, Teka Dena Shanti Pure, Prabhu Bhakta Advaita Ragare, Dui Prabhu Bhojane Bosilo. That song says, Dui Prabhu means two Prabhus. One is Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. They both went to the home of Advaita Acharya. There, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw the prasadam arranged very beautifully. And then Mahaprabhu, when he tasted the shak sabji, Mahaprabhu said, Yeisha Krishna Aswadilo. He says, oh, this shak must be tasted by Krishna. Otherwise it cannot be so tasty, he says. Because Krishna's tongue has touched this bhoga, therefore it has become prasad, like that he says. Shak Kori Aswadana. Oh, all of you Vaishnavas, taste this shak sabji, he says. Prabhu Bole Bhakta Gana. And then he's saying, everybody say Hari Hari Bol, he says. And then he also says that your Jada Buddhi Parihari. Give up your material outlook to prasad. And by eating this prasad, give up your material outlook and awaken spiritual outlook, like that he says. In the same manner here, many things Prabhupada says in the purport about the Mahaprasad. And then Mahaprabhu inquired Haridas Thakur, how are you doing, Haridas? Are you all right? I heard that your body is not very healthy. But Haridas Thakur just said the opposite. He said, my dear Lord, my body is all right, I am quite healthy, but my mind is not all right, he said. So Mahaprabhu asked, why? What is the matter? He said, I am not able to complete my rounds, 3 lakh names, my quota these days. So Mahaprabhu told him that you don't have to do so many rounds now. Now that you are old, you reduce your rounds. So, like that Mahaprabhu, yeah. Actually, this is very high testimony. I can put it. So, Mahaprabhu told that. See, here comes a very, very interesting point. That Haridas Thakur doesn't say that my body is sick, although his body is sick. His mind is very healthy, but he claims that his mind is unhealthy. So this is the glory of Vaishnavas, very exalted Vaishnavas. They always speak in a self-deprecating way. Actually, Haridas Thakur was quite all right. He was very healthy. His only problem was he came to know that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going to leave the world, completing his pastimes now. And he became very sickly in the mind because he started developing fear that if Mahaprabhu goes away, how will I live alone without him? That's actually a spiritual separation, feeling of spiritual separation. That was his problem. There was no other problem with him. But he claimed that my body is all right and my mind is sick. So actually, he wanted to leave the body before Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu leaves the world. That was his aspiration, which was going on in his mind. So, actually, Haridas Thakur used to chant 3 lakh names. Mahaprabhu says that you don't have to chant so much. But we have been told minimum you should chant 16 rounds, because otherwise if we are allowed to reduce, we will not chant at all. So, but Haridas Thakur was told that you can relax, which means actually you will see there is a kind of competition between Krishna and his devotees. The devotees want to do more and more for Krishna, and Krishna says, relax, relax, don't do so much. There is one verse by Rukmini where Rukmini says that Yasyangri pankaja rajasnapanam mahanto vanchantyuma patirivatmatamo pahatyai yarhyam bujakshanalabheya bhavat prasadam jahyam asunrata krashan shatajanma visyat. She is telling Krishna in the letter, this is the last verse in her letter. She says that, oh lotus-eyed one, Krishna, in case you are unhappy with my letter to you, you are saying that even great personalities like Shiva take the dust of your feet on their head to get rid of the mode of ignorance. And even Brahma, even Lakshmi, such people take dust of your feet on their head and I am ordinary woman, I am unqualified. So she said, I am ready to die 100 times, she said, performing severe penances and austerities. And then if you feel I am qualified, you may accept me. But do not right away reject me. Like that she wrote in the letter. So there, although Rukmini said 100 lifetimes I am ready, but Krishna came in that very lifetime only and put her in the chariot and took her away. So therefore you will find Krishna is not a lot of rigidity, but is a lot of flexibility for his especially pure devotees. Lord says, you already have awakened pure devotion, what more you need to do? Perfection is achieved in your life, but the devotees are not satisfied. You see, Sanatana Goswami was going around Govardhan, even in old age. So Mahaprabhu gave him on Govardhan Shila and said, just you circumambulate it 4 times, it's equivalent to going all over the Govardhan. Same thing with Raghunath Das Goswami also. Same thing with Tota Gopinath worshipped by Gadadhar Pandit. So Gadadhar Pandit became old. He was not able to put the garland on the neck of the Lord. So the Lord decided to sit down instead of standing. So Lord actually relaxes the rigid things for the devotees. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya said, you may reduce your rounds. But he wasn't ready to reduce the rounds. Yeah, Raghunath Das Goswami used to offer 2,000 obeisances every day. Some 1,000 obeisances to deities and 2,000 obeisances to devotees. But Mahaprabhu told him to relax also. Don't have such a strict vows. Relax your vows. So, in this way, that's due to affection. The Lord wants devotees to relax. There was one Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu in Vrindavan, disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And once Prabhupada said, Vibhu Chaitanya, one devotee can do service of 10 devotees, the deity room. He will wash the pots, he will cook, and he will dress the deities, he will do everything practically. So, when he got little older, at that time, many other devotees came into deity department. But still he was working very hard. When he became extremely old, his body was trembling. So he would sit in a chair and give charanamrita to the devotees, even at that time. So Prabhupada used to glorify him. So, why I was telling, the devotees, even in an invalid state, they have a very strong urge to serve Krishna, even in an old stage. So Haridas Thakur is also like that. So, and then here, 26 to 36, now Haridas Thakur is going to present his request to Lord Chaitanya. He is telling, he openly tells Mahaprabhu that I came to know that you want to wind up your pastimes and let them go away. So I have a great earnest desire from you. And before you leave the planet, I want to leave. Please bestow this benediction upon me. And I want to take your lotus feet on my chest and watching your 2 bumblebee-like eyes, meditating on your beautiful form, chanting the holy names, I want to leave my body. That was his request. So, when Mahaprabhu heard this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Haridas, what are you saying? If you leave before me, how me and Vaishnavas will be able to survive without your association? We will be bereft of your association. In fact, it is only in your association we delight in chanting the holy name. How can we survive without you? Like that he asked. So in response, Haridas Thakur said, my dear Lord, why are you creating an illusion like this? I am just an insignificant ant. And imagine in your entire compound, in one corner, one ant dies. Will anybody talk about it? Similarly, he said, in this entire world filled with so many great exalted Vaishnavas, I am an insignificant person. So my death is not even going to be spoken about by anybody. Why do you create illusion, making me think that my association is very important for everybody? Like that he spoke. So that is again the humility of Haridas Thakur. He said, I don't deserve your glorification like this. You may say that I am chanting 3 lakh names. I am not the doer. You are making me do this. I am only your insignificant servant. Actually, we can also study Glories of Haridas Thakur elsewhere in another chapter. In those days, the Brahminical status was so strict in India. Advaita Acharya was not only a Brahmana, he was also the leader of Brahmana community, entire Brahmana community. All Brahmanas very greatly respected him, the highest caste in those days. And people would want to see that the Brahmanas are not dealing with people who are Antyaja, they call, which means below the 4 classes, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. They will not even go near them because they consider them impure. Like if they pass urine, they won't wash their legs. They will not be pure. So they would keep away from them. In such a situation in India, when caste system was so rigid, at that time, Advaita Acharya Prabhu declared one day that the Shraddha Patra, I will be giving it to the best of the Brahmanas. So who should be given? So all the Brahmanas thought maybe some very big Brahmana will be given. But Advaita Acharya called whom? Haridas Thakur. And made him sit. You can imagine, in those days it's really revolutionary. Unimaginable. Now if you do, it may not make much difference. Because now nobody has any caste now anyway. In this world now, everybody is all mixed up now. But in those days, he was given such a respect. And then Advaita Acharya boldly declared to all the Brahmanas, by feeding this one great soul, Haridas Thakur, I am feeding 1 million Brahmanas. It is like that. He is such a great soul because he is a pure devotee of Krishna who is chanting the holy names, 3 lakh names every day. So that is the glory of Haridas Thakur. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chose Haridas Thakur for as a Namacharya, and Mahaprabhu asked many questions to him and heard from him answers. So in this way, you will see the Haridas Thakur's humility. We also learn from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu how much he feels, makes his devotees feel valued. So how much he makes the devotees feel wanted and loved and cared for by his going and giving prasad to Haridas Thakur and also spending time with him and discussing Krishna Katha with Haridas Thakur also. Yeah. You see, my spiritual master was once saying that Haridas Thakur was called as untouchable by both people, Hindus and Muslims. Why? Because the Hindus thought that he is born in a Muslim family, and the Muslims thought that he is not chanting Allah's names, he is chanting Hindu God's name. So both communities rejected him. But Haridas Thakur didn't care a farthing about it. He didn't care a fig about it. He was continuing to chant and he was dancing. And many other thousands and thousands of people became his followers chanting the holy name. So my spiritual master was saying once, although people called him untouchable, he was telling, yes, he was untouchable. Untouchable how? He was untouchable by Maya, he said. Our Gaudiya Vaishnava understanding is that he was never touched by Maya. So now, at last, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu agreed to the proposal of Haridas Thakur. Okay, you want to leave before me because you are my very dear devotee. I approve of your desire. And the next day, Mahaprabhu came along with a big group of devotees. And there was a roaring Sankirtan that happened in Siddhabakul. So, in that midst of the congregational chanting, Haridas Thakur took the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya on his chest and watching his bumblebee-like eyes as per his exactly desire, he left his body. This is very similar to Bhishma Pitama leaving the body. So you all may be aware that Bhishma Pitama had a Ichha Mrityu, we call it. Ichha Mrityu means the devotee is given the blessing that he can leave the body as per his desire, when one wishes to live, as per your wish. In the same manner, Haridas Thakur also left the body as per his wish. He desired and Lord approved for him. And another thing is, Bhishma Pitama was lying in the arrow bed, surrounded by demigods and sages and kings and many other people. Very, very great personalities of the universe. They all were there to witness how he left the body. Similarly, in Haridas Thakur's case, all the big Vaishnavas were present. Like Swarudamodar, Ramananda Rai, and such Vaishnavas had come. Another similarity you will see when Bhishma Pitama was lying in the arrow bed, right in front of him Krishna was sitting with his beautiful smiling face, and Yudhishthira had asked some questions about the Parodharma, and Bhishma responded to that, speaking the glories of Krishna. Krishna is right in front of him, he is glorifying Krishna. Similarly for Haridas Thakur, Lord Chaitanya is Krishna, right in front of him, glorifying Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and seeing his beautiful form, he left his body. So in that sense, it's very comparable, Bhishma leaving the body and Haridas Thakur leaving the body. So In this way, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced and chanted. And when Haridas Thakur left the body, Mahaprabhu picked up his body. You might have seen that picture. And Mahaprabhu danced with his body, then later on put his body in his own laps. And he performed the final rites by taking Haridas Thakur's body to the ocean there. And there they dug the ground and they made a samadhi for Haridas Thakur. And Mahaprabhu told all the devotees to put the sand, so with their own hands they all put, and he told everybody, all of you chant, Jai Jai Haridas. All of you chant. Jai Jai Haridas. Like that Mahaprabhu himself chanted and made everybody chant also. After that Mahaprabhu personally went to the shops of the Jagannath Puri, Anand Bazar. He went to the shops and requested them for prasadam to be distributed. So you will see that Haridas Thakur's passing away is celebrated like a festival. Now some of us may wonder how if somebody is passing away, how it's a festival. In the Vaishnava line, devotees have mixed feelings of happiness and distress. Happiness that this devotee lived all his life or her life in Krishna consciousness. And now successfully the devotee is going back to Krishna's abode. That's our happiness. And our distress is that we will miss their association. We will be bereft of their association. We can only remember them in our mind, but we can't get to see them. So, in this way, Haridas Thakur's passing away was actually celebrated in a very big way by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to show the world how much he loves his devotees. So Prabhupada writes, the Krishna Kaviraj Goswami says, these are the phala stuti. What all benefits we get by reading this pastime. How Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally gave company to Haridas Thakur, how he allowed to touch his lotus feet, how he danced in kirtan holding him on his lap, how he begged prasadam for feast for his devotees, how he personally covered Haridas Thakur with sand, and how he built a tomb for Haridas Thakur. All these things, Kaviraj Goswami says, Lord's personal dealing with his devotees. So, in this way, Haridas Thakur, the Nahamacharya, disappeared on this auspicious day. And today is also Prabhupada's Sannyas day. Prabhupada says when he was a businessman, Prabhupada was thinking that, I will earn a lot of money and I will give it to my god brothers and they will use the money for preaching purpose. And that was Prabhupada's plan. So they would come to his shop and Prabhupada would give them a lot of donations like that. But Bhakti Thakur once told that this Avai Babu, who they wanted to initiate, they wanted him to be initiated. So Bhakti Thakur said he likes to hear very well. So I am very happy to initiate him. But after initiation, Prabhupada would come to the matha. He would sometimes take a sannyasi with him for a program. And he will keep the sannyasi on the elevated seat and Prabhupada will sit down. So the sannyasi will do kirtan and he will give the lecture to the people and he would speak with such clarity. And many people would appreciate and big crowds would come to hear. Like that Prabhupada was very exalted even in his Purva Ashrama, in Grihastha Ashrama also. Later on he became like a Vanaprastha and living in Vrindavan, going to Delhi, printing back to Godhead. We all know that. One time his spiritual master came in the dream and said, take sannyas. Prabhupada said, I thought it's horrible. How can I have my 5 sons, I have my wife, family and business and everything, how can I leave it? Also His Holiness Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj also repeatedly told him to take sannyas. And then his guru came second time in the dream and Prabhupada decided that he considered himself unqualified due to his own humility. And then he, at one point of time, he took sannyas and that is a very special festival which is auspicious day today. When sannyas ceremony was being conducted, 2 very specific things there. When the sannyas, during that time, devotees were doing Sankirtan on one side and there was also Vedic chant going on the other side. Prabhupada told them to increase the volume of Sankirtan to indicate the point that in Kali Yuga, the Sankirtan dharma is more important than even the Vedic sacrifices. And another important thing, his guru told him to speak for a few minutes and Prabhupada spoke in English. Although everybody sitting there was known for Bengali language, which goes to show that his guru's order was that you go to the Western world and preach in English language. So therefore Prabhupada gave English lecture immediately after sannyas. So Prabhupada took sannyas on this auspicious day, and he further marched ahead, coming to this Western world. He landed in Boston Harbor and then went to New York and various places. And he brought auspiciousness to wherever he put his lotus footprints. We are grateful to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Haridas Thakur ki. Let's hear from Maharaj. His Holiness Bhakti. Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, I have left some time for the discussion based on your valuable guidance for me yesterday.
They may have questions. I don't want to give a second class. They may have questions.
Yesterday, I ended up speaking 45 minutes yesterday. And then Maharaj said, yesterday Maharaj was telling that.
We can keep that amongst ourselves.
No. I was telling, I was thinking it's a very nice thing to share also. Everybody will benefit from that.
I shared with them before.
Is it? Actually, in India, we are very badly used to long-bounded lectures. We have 1.5 to 2 hours lectures. So because of getting addicted to speaking at great length, sitting in the Vyasas, and it's very difficult to finish class by 8:30. Huh? So we go till 9, 1.5.
Different audience.
Yeah, that is true.
Different times, different places.
Yeah.
For this particular audience,
Yeah.
it's good for a short lecture.
Yes, Maharaj.
It's an exchange of ideas.
Correct.
You interactive.
Yeah.
And they open up, and you
Correct.
start to hear about their lives and
Yeah.
what's really on their mind.
Yes,
And
Maharaj.
they want to express themselves. It's
Yeah.
college campuses and this kind of audience, that's what works with them.
Yes, Maharaj.
Otherwise, they feel they're being hectored. They get enough of that from their parents.
Anybody would like to say anything? Any of you? Yes.
Thank you for a nice class. So if I understood you correctly, when Haridas Thakur said that the enjoyment that I experience in chanting the holy name is because your presence is here, and it's implying that if he's gone, he won't experience.
Actually, Haridas Thakur said, actually Mahaprabhu told Haridas Thakur that if you go away now, how will I live, how me and Vaishnavas will live without your association? Like that Mahaprabhu told him.
Oh, wow.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told
But
him.
didn't you say something that the joy that I'm experiencing through chanting the
Actually,
holy name is
Haridas
because...
Thakur said that you are going to wind up your earthly pastimes. I came to know that you are going to wind up your earthly pastimes. If you wind up pastimes and go away, I'll be left all alone. Then how will I be able to survive? Like that he asked.
Okay.
Yeah,
Jai.
correct. Thank you. Which goes to show Lord and devotee both are desperately wanting each other's association. Yeah.
But the holy name is good association with Krishna for us personally each day.
Yeah.
And
As far as we are concerned, we are already blessed with the association of various devotees around us. And we have the association of holy name in the company of devotees. Yeah, we should cherish that. Somebody says that, how nice, if it will be nice if we can see Krishna eye to eye. Krishna says, first you surrender, Mamekam Sharanam Braja, then you will see me. But some people say, first you show me, then I will surrender. So Srila Prabhupada said, when you want to go to America, from India to America, do you pay for the ticket first? Yeah. Or you board the plane in India and come to America, then you pay for the ticket. So then the devotee said, Prabhupada, we have to pay for the ticket. Prabhupada said, the paying for the ticket means you have to put faith first. Faith comes first. You put faith and surrender, then Krishna will reveal himself to you. Thank you.
Maybe there's something on Zoom. Zoom.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions for the devotees on Zoom? No. Okay.
No, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, I'm sorry. What is your name?
My name is Radheshyam Das.
Yes, Radheshyam Das, Prabhu. Thank you very much. My humble obeisances.
Humble
I
obeisances.
have a question related to the disappearance day of Haridas Thakur.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes. in his biography, I have here with me the physical book, Gaudiya Vaishnava Samadhis in Vrindavan by Mahanidhi Swami.
Okay.
And one of the biographies is related to Sri Haridas Thakur.
Mm-hmm.
And what we get from this biography, and not only from this biography, from other information given by different devotees, is that Haridas Thakur is an incarnation of Lord Brahma. Correct,
you are right.
So based on this, my question is, we have to chant on a daily basis 16 rounds.
Yeah.
But Haridas Thakur was chanting 192 daily rounds.
Yeah, correct.
So based on this, my question is, how do you accomplish? And he is recognized as the Namacharya.
Yeah, correct.
So based on this, my question is, how can you accommodate we being followers of someone who was chanting on a daily basis 192 rounds, and we are trying to be his faithful followers, we are only chanting 16. So how do you explain this huge difference?
Yeah, actually we are followers of Srila Prabhupada. We are called Prabhupada Anuga. So Prabhupada actually, when he came to the West, initially he told 64 rounds, then he said 32 rounds, and finally Prabhupada said minimum 16 rounds. When you say minimum 16, you should not stop with 16, you can chant more. Samyaka these days, sometimes you can chant 32 rounds or 64 rounds. But Srila Prabhupada also understood the situation of we people in this day and age, and he said minimum 16 rounds. And grown-up devotees sometimes chant 20 rounds, 25 rounds daily. And auspicious days, festival days, we can chant even more if we can. And at the same time, although we are followers of Haridas Thakur, we are also followers of Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami. So I feel that we won't be able to directly access those acharyas without taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada's guidance. Srila Prabhupada is our founder acharya, and he has a very prominent place in the entire Guru Parampara line. He stands out amongst all the acharyas for us. And he has prescribed minimum 16 rounds. If we stick to it, then Krishna will be pleased with us. And you can be convinced of that. And if you want to chant 192 rounds, you give a try. It's pretty difficult. Prabhupada said that also, that there are some followers who said, I am going to follow Haridas Thakur, and they left ISKCON temple and went out, and maybe 1 or 2 months they tried. After that they went to a petrol bunk and got employed there and stopped chanting. And then when somebody asked them, hey, you stopped chanting, what happened? He said, I have already chanted 192 for many days, so that will compensate. So in this way you will see that we don't have such a great taste, because we have a lot of ignorance and impurities in the heart. So we should follow the acharyas guidelines, so in order to safely swim through this ocean of Kali Yuga in this day and age. So Srila Prabhupada, if you read Prabhupada's text, you will find that 16 rounds Prabhupada has given us. Bhakti Thakur gave 64 for some of his disciples. For some he gave 32, for some he gave 16 also. But our Prabhupada has made a standard for all ISKCON followers. Prabhupada said no less than 16 rounds, minimum 16, he said. Is that all right?
Oh, Prabhu, as to be expected, better than all right. Outstanding answer to my question. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki. Thank you. Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.